Imagine your own father becoming the father of your children. Not once, not twice, but 7 times. This is not fiction, this actually happened. Joseph Fritzel was born in 1935 in Austria. His childhood was marked by strict control and emotional coldness. He grew up under a dominating mother, and many believe this shaped his obsession with power and control. To the outside world, Fritzel lived a normal life. He worked as an electrical engineer, married a woman named Rosemary in 1956, and together they had 7 children. Neighbors saw him as a quiet, disciplined family man. A father, a husband. Nothing about him raised suspicion. Joseph Fritzel and his wife Rosemary had 7 children. Elizabeth was the firstborn, the eldest daughter, the one who would later become his victim. But beneath his family home, Fritzel was building something else, a secret basement that would later become one of the most horrifying crime scenes in modern history. The man the world knew was not the man his daughter knew. In 1984, when Elizabeth Fritzel was just 18 years old, Joseph Fritzel executed a plan he had been preparing for years. He had secretly built a hidden basement beneath his home, locked, soundproofed, and completely cut off from the outside world. He had already built the basement years in advance. This was not a sudden crime, it was a planned imprisonment. One day, Fritzel asked Elizabeth to help him carry a door down to the basement. When she entered, he overpowered her, restrained her, and locked her inside. That moment marked the beginning of 24 years of captivity. Fritzel told his wife and family that Elizabeth had run away and joined a cult. To make the lie believable, he sent fake letters in her name. From that day on, Elizabeth never saw daylight again. Except through Fritzel's control, the basement became her prison, and Fritzel became the only human contact she had. That moment wasn't just a betrayal. It was the beginning of her worst nightmare. Joseph Fritzel intentionally soundproofed the basement. He reinforced walls, added heavy doors, and designed it so screams could not be heard from upstairs. The basement wasn't a single room, it was a maze of tiny, suffocating spaces. When Elizabeth was first locked inside, the room was barely 5 feet wide and 6 feet long, smaller than a prison cell. There were no windows, no natural light, and almost no ventilation. The air was stale. Breathing itself felt heavy. As years passed, Fritzel expanded the basement into several cramped rooms. A small sleeping area, a narrow kitchen space, and a tiny bathroom. The ceilings were so low that an adult could barely stand upright. It shows Fritzel clearly wanted to live a second life, hidden underground, with his own daughter. At first, Elizabeth begged to be let out. She cried, screamed, and pleaded for her mother, for her siblings, for freedom. Fritzel responded with threats. He told her that if she resisted or tried to escape, he would harm her and her family. He made one thing clear from the beginning. Obedience was the only way to survive. Over time, the begging stopped, not because she accepted it, but because she realized no one could hear her. From the very beginning, Fritzel made it clear that Elizabeth's body and life were under his control. He forced her into sexual abuse repeatedly, using threats, fear, and isolation to break her resistance. Whenever she resisted, he threatened punishment, locking her in darkness, withholding food, or threatening harm to her family. During her captivity, Joseph Fritzel his own daughter multiple times, which led to her having children with him. It was forced, repeated, and entirely under his control. Elizabeth Fritzel became pregnant for the first time, just 1 year after she was imprisoned, at the age of 19. She gave birth in the basement under her father's control, with no medical care beyond what Fritzel allowed. The room was cramped, and she had to recover in the same tiny space. Over the years, Elizabeth gave birth to a total of 7 children, 6 of whom survived. Each birth happened in the basement, under the same terrifying conditions as the first. As Elizabeth gave birth to more children, the tiny basement could no longer hold all of them. With limited space, Fritzel decided to move a few of the children upstairs to live in the family home, while still keeping Elizabeth and the remaining children trapped underground. To keep his secret hidden, Fritzel told his wife and family that Elizabeth had willingly sent the children to them. He went so far as to forge letters, pretending they were from Elizabeth herself, claiming she was alive and had abandoned her children. These letters made the story believable and prevented anyone from investigating further. For 24 years, Elizabeth Fritzel's captivity remained a secret, until 2008. The turning point came when one of Elizabeth's children, who had been living in the basement, fell seriously ill and needed urgent medical attention. Doctors questioned how a child could have certain injuries and why Elizabeth hadn't been seen in decades. Their suspicions triggered an investigation. Police discovered the hidden basement beneath the Fritzel home in Amstetten, Austria. Elizabeth and her children were finally freed, and Joseph Fritzel was arrested. Elizabeth Fritzel gave a detailed account of her 24 years in captivity. The testimony was so shocking that the questioning lasted nearly 11 hours. Investigators had to take breaks every couple of hours to process the horrifying details. Even seasoned officers were deeply disturbed by what she revealed. Her account included the abuse, the births of her children, and life underground, information that was almost impossible to believe, yet completely true. Investigators later revealed that Fritzel had disturbing tendencies, including an addiction to pornography and obsessive control over sexual matters. These behaviors were part of a larger pattern. He viewed Elizabeth as property, not a human being. When Elizabeth and her children were rescued, the children were pale, malnourished, and underweight, reflecting years of living in the dark, cramped basement. They had never seen sunlight properly, had limited nutrition, and lacked normal physical activity, so their development was affected. Psychologically, all of them faced severe trauma. Elizabeth was just 18 when she was imprisoned by her father. She didn't see the outside world again until she was 42, spending 24 years underground. The Joseph Fritzel case remains one of the most disturbing and horrifying crimes in modern history. A father, a husband, a seemingly normal man, who hid a nightmare beneath his own home for 24 years. Elizabeth and her children were finally freed, given medical care, therapy, and a chance to rebuild their lives. After decades of trauma, they were provided with support to heal, adjust to the outside world, and reclaim their stolen childhoods. As for Joseph Fritzel, justice caught up with him. In 2009, he was arrested, tried, and sentenced to life in prison for his crimes, ending the reign of terror he had imposed on his own family. This case is a chilling reminder of how evil can hide behind normality, and how courage, survival, and resilience can endure even in the darkest circumstances.